Philadelphia's government works efficiently and effectively with integrity and responsiveness. We are joined today by the Commissioner of Fleet Management, Christopher Kochi, and members of his leadership team. As you may know, city vehicles. As I've heard his employees say many a time, we keep the city running. As usual, we'll start off with introductions from participants seated at the table, and we will turn it over to the Commissioner to take us through today's presentation.
John Curtis, Performance Management Analyst.
Deshaun Jones, IT Manager.
Terry Antonelli, Materials Manager.
Kay Wilson, Fleet Management.
Chris Kochi, Fleet Manager.
Joe Rosati, Deputy Fleet Manager.
Marcia Miller, HR Manager.
Mike McAnally, Office of Human Resources.
And Elevate CIO.
Everett Gillison, Chief of Staff to the Mayor.
Rich Negrin, Managing Director and Deputy Mayor.
Jackie Linton, Deputy Managing Director, Center of Excellence.
Commissioner?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you an overview of OFM and our accomplishments and our goals for the future. Many of you may not know, OFM was formed in 1993 to consolidate all the departments in the services, or vehicle services. It was done in order to streamline efficiency in services and perform more efficiently. Our mission, obviously, is to support the city departments in the delivery of municipal services by giving the departments vehicles that they need to do their job. All city departments utilize a vehicle to perform a service, and it's our task to make sure that they have the vehicles that they use to do their services. It's a tool that they use to perform their functions. Our vision is to be a recognized leader in fleet management with an emphasis on environmentally friendly and sustainable solutions. That's to say, where possible, we look to purchase hybrid or fuel-efficient vehicles, and we have to keep in mind that these are more expensive vehicles, and they don't fit all applications. So it's not possible to replace every vehicle with a hybrid vehicle or a more fuel-efficient vehicle. The Office of Fleet Management has 360 allotted personnel. At the time, we only have 330 filled positions. However, 75% of those people are actively repairing vehicles on the shop floor, either as a mechanic, a team leader, or a maintenance supervisor, or supplying parts to those people. It should be noted, too, that in 1993 and in the late 90s, when Fleet Management was formed, we had 565 people. So there's a significant reduction in personnel at the moment, but we still have been able to function even though we're short almost 200 people.
Can I ask a question about the vacancies right now? And I guess since Mike is here and Marcia is here, what are the areas that you have your biggest challenge in getting people into the authorized positions that we have? So this isn't a function of money, it's just a function of getting the matters in, or is it a function of money?
The problem right now is there's a nationwide technician shortage. That's number one. The problem we have also is our pay scale isn't on par with the agencies that we're competing with, such as SEPTA and some other entities. Local dealerships also pay more money than we pay. Our benefits package, however, is better, but a lot of people don't look at it that way. But again, our biggest problem is just trying to attract people, and the fact that young people don't enter into this profession. It's a dying profession, so to speak, and we're having trouble attracting those people.
How much of this, I mean, I know that there's some stellar programs in the city. I mean, West Philadelphia comes to mind. How much of our ability to market ourselves to our younger citizens and students, how much of that are we doing? What's the program? Can you give me like a short synopsis of how we're making that? And then on pay scales, Mike, I'd like to get your understanding of what is that, what's the difference, what's the delta between what we're actually offering and what the current market is out there?
Yeah, our data is that our salary is very, very competitive. We have data from Tower Watson consulting firm, and we're right about at the market rate for automotive maintenance technicians. And in fact, the July 16th, we established an eligible list with 34 qualified candidates on the list, 34 new candidates. So we think that that's a pretty good result. 29 of those candidates have been referred to the Office of Fleet Management. They're conducting interviews now. So we're hoping that they're going to be able to fill a good number of their positions. I think there are 8 candidates remaining on that eligible list who are yet to be interviewed. And we plan on re-announcing the examination on August 31st, having a new eligible list by October 19th. So we're not going to be able to meet all their needs, but I think we're going to go a good way to fill their positions.
And what about West Philly and other programs? I'm sure there are some others that we have out there that we use. And is this a matter of trying to get additional points for the young kids that are coming through and seeing whether or not that would be something we might want to do, or no?
We would be glad to do that, and Fleet has a good program for bringing apprentices in.
Right, I know you guys have a
Yeah, the high school
apprenticeship
apprenticeship.
program.
It's really the city model.
Right.
Yeah.
So how many folks have gone through that program and now working?
Through the years, we've had over 100 students go through the program that started in 1993. For a brief period, we had to stop the program, but in 2012, we reinstated it. At the present time, of those 100-plus students, 22, I think over 20 of them, almost 30, are still with us today. Some are in management positions. So it's a good program. We also were working with OHR on a community apprenticeship program, whereby some of the students that may have graduated never had the opportunity to actually have a job within in the automotive industry, but do have some technical skills, where we're able to bring them on and hopefully train them up and fill some of the unfilled positions.
One of the other pieces that I'd like to get you to kind of think about, our Power Corps
Yes.
folks that we have, and they work throughout government. We might want to set up a Power Corps with fleet management, because there are programs that are out there that we allow our second chance citizens the ability to work in government. Power Corps has done very well in other areas and with other departments. Could also be in an environment this is actually used as well as a matter, and it's something the city really feels strongly about. And I can't imagine, what's the starting salary now for automotive for the city?
The maximum is $45,416, and they can offer that maximum. That's for a skilled auto mechanic. For the apprentices coming out of high school, it's considerably lower, but it is still a pretty good salary.
Yeah, because I'm thinking I can imagine a lot of the council persons who are always asking for jobs for their persons, and this is an area that we really cycle a lot of people through. This is an opportunity for a good paying job with great benefits, working with the city and getting people in, and that experience is got to be golden. So it's just a matter of, Mayor, we were talking about the trying to get people. We had 360 authorized positions, 330 are actually working now, filled now. We have about 29 coming through the market, but there's an opportunity to get more people in, and I know that's part of your vision for the city.
Yeah, and it is a great opportunity here in the last part of this conversation. These are skills that really will allow a person to move not through just a job, but really a career in these kinds of services. More and more companies obviously maintaining their fleets, and it's a kind of experience. The one thing we know is with city government, whatever job you get hired for, you're probably going to do a few more things than that particular job, so you're going to get a lot more exposure to opportunities than you might initially in a different kind of environment. So we need to get the word out and let people know that these opportunities exist. Where's the test? When is it taken? Et cetera, et cetera.
Great, thank you.
Chris, your apprenticeship program has really been the model of the different apprenticeship programs in other departments, and certainly what I submitted to the mayor's request around My Brother's Keeper, a lot of what we did around there was around new positions and apprenticeships, consistent with reaching out to young black men and others, people of color. Could you walk the mayor through and just kind of talk about why your apprenticeship program is different and how it works, and who are you targeting with that in terms of age and qualifications?
For the high school apprenticeship
Yeah,
program?
yeah.
It targets the student that is entering his junior year in high school. What it does, it allows the student to work for
His or her.
his or her, excuse me.
Yeah.
It allows the student to work with us for the summer, enter his junior year in high school, in an automotive program within the school district, City of Philadelphia. He's graded in the school district as well as with our people grade him. At the end of his program, at the end of his senior year, he could become an apprentice. I'm sorry, he's an intern in the beginning. He can become an apprentice And within 2 years, I believe it is, I'll defer this to Marcia.
Yes.
Within 2 years, he can apply for the city job as an automotive maintenance technician and be brought on full-time.
And does this apply to students in any school in the city, or particular schools?
Marcia?
Here we have students who come from Marathon, Edison, Randolph Skills Center, and I believe Swenson. So they have the automotive trades
Right.
in their school.
West Philly High, don't they still have a?
We've been in conversation with West Philly High School, and as a matter of fact, we have a couple of students that have graduated. They didn't have any students this year that they can enter because it has to be junior and senior. They have to start in their junior year and do 2 full years.
Right.
So we were in conversation with West Philly. They did not have students at that time, but they do have a couple of seniors that graduated and will be looking for jobs.
Okay.
And that's where the community internship program may come into play, that we may be able to bring them on board at that time.
Do we pay them as interns?
Yes.
How much do we pay them?
$10,
What's the opportunity?
$10.80.
We give them the minimum wage.
All right, living.
Living wage, I'm sorry. Living wage.
All right, well, we should look at, yeah, so that's what it was. Then I signed the executive order.
I think it goes to 12.
Raising that to 12, so we need to make sure that we're paying these interns what the new living wage is. Okay.
And I think the other issue, Chris, is what Everett talked about is, so thank you for that summary. I thought it was really good. It's really focused on high school young people.
Correct.
The thought is whether there's some applicability, and whether it's that program or another one that focuses on folks who are already out of school, maybe looking for a second chance, whether they're Power Corps or learning some skills, at the prison, and some of those skills are transferable, right? That's kind of the conversation that I think we should have.
Right. So folks in the Power Corps program, for pretty much all the departments and agencies, we should be looking at that group of young people for new test opportunities. They're getting the same in the departments where they're primarily working, which are parks, recreation, streets, and water. Many of those departments have already hired Power Corps PHL graduates, but I really want all of the departments and agencies to look at that cohort of young people who are already spending time with us in some department or agency, but when opportunities open, we should be looking at them not only on the test side, the civil service side, but also potentially on the exempt side as well. It's an excellent cohort of young people who are looking for opportunity. We've already demonstrated it by coming through this particular program.
Great.
All right, as I said, 360 allotted personnel, 75% of those are actually on the shop floor as technicians, team leaders, or parts people. We have 16 shops that are strategically located throughout the city, 60 fuel sites. Most of those fuel sites are also strategically located in conjunction with a police station or a fire station or a sanitation area. We have an active fleet of approximately 6,000 vehicles, and that varies from day to day. On any given day, around 5,900 vehicles are active, and in fact that they are assigned to a department. There are anywhere from 200 to 400 vehicles that may be in some form of relinquishment or acceptance. So that's the variance. There are 900 pieces of specialized equipment. By specialized, I mean refuse compactors, sewer vacs, street sweepers, road construction equipment, and most of those are highly complex machines that require a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
Our budget, all funds which comprise of general fund, water fund, and aviation fund for FY16 is $93.5 million. That's up from FY12, which was $55.9 million. The increase is primarily due to the capitalization plan. The capitalization plan targets expensive equipment. It allows us to capitalize the purchase of fire apparatus, refuse compactors, and other high-dollar equipment. That was a much-needed program, and it's in the 5-year plan. Materials and supplies has consistently been one of our biggest operating expenses. Materials and supplies includes fuel, and it's roughly $30 million of our budget, or a third of our budget or more every year. In order to monitor our performance, fleet management, we have performance measures that have been in place since the inception of fleet. One of our biggest, our largest, and most important performance targets is fleet availability citywide. That's availability of all vehicles in all departments. Our goal is 90% availability, with 10% of the vehicles unavailable due to routine maintenance or repairs. 10% is generally an accepted industry standard for amount of vehicles out of service on any given day. It's not to say that we don't have service level agreements that are slightly below the 90% target, but I can say that we have met the service level agreements for all departments consistently. So every department has had a vehicle available for service when they need it. Our second most important performance measurement is availability by vehicle type. Not only do we track overall availability, we track by various types. As you can see from this slide here, we track radio patrol cars, medic units, and compactors, and they're listed primarily because they are our most important, that we consider the most important vehicles for delivery of city services. That's not to say that we don't track other categories of vehicles, such as fire ladders, fire pumpers, recycling trucks, street repair vehicles, and in the wintertime especially, snow vehicles. So we do track every type of vehicle by availability, and Joe Rosati is my deputy for operations, and he has his finger on the pulse of the availability every day, every morning, and most nights.
Chris and Joe, what would it take, and I know what the service agreements are and the standards, what would it take to get us consistently in the 90-plus range? Is that just having more vehicles? Is that about parts? Is it about people? How do you?
It's about new vehicles.
Check it up.
It's about new vehicles. What happens with an old vehicle? Instead of a maintenance mode, you're in a heart attack repair mode. So generally for maintenance, routine maintenance should take a day. There should be a day turnaround, which we do have a metric that we track: vehicles repaired in 1 day or less, vehicles repaired in 3 days or more. What happens with an older vehicle? It comes in for maintenance repair or repairs, and it needs extensive repairs. Whereas sometimes with some of our complex equipment in a rebuild mode and instead of a maintenance mode. So that's the reason for our...
I'm talking about my car.
Your car is one of those.
It has a constant use.
One is constant use,
Yeah.
constant break.
Multiple shifts.
Let me take this moment to...
Sir, by the way, your car has 150,000 miles on it. I think it's
that's
It's about ready, right?
It's about ready.
Yeah. No, I'm good. But I do seriously want to take a moment to say that you and the folks in Fleet have just been incredible with my particular vehicle. It does get a lot of use. We go a lot of places, and the uptime, the availability time has literally been incredible. And the things that you've had to do with and to the vehicle over these 7.5 years have really kept it in tip-top shape. It is 99.9 plus, way out, available, running. It allows me to, on a calm day, just kind of get in, or, sometimes we have emergencies and we need to get somewhere. And it has always performed for us. And for that, I want to say thank you very, very much. It has kept us safe.
Thank you, sir. We have a lot of good people. But your car is an example.
That wasn't enough. Had to come back.
Just need to drive the point home. The point is,
understand.
an old car, your car, for example, needed an engine.
Yeah.
It's something with a car with a lot of miles, a lot of age, we shouldn't normally do if we were replacing vehicles.
The chief tried to advocate on your behalf.
I was advocating quite a
I'm somewhat
bit.
attached to the vehicle.
And I thank you for
that. I need to see her out and,
Chris, can you
retire her at the proper time.
can you segue, because I think that's a great, when you look at the three sort of critical radio patrol cars, medic units, compactors, In your mind, an industry standard, you have a kind of age of a vehicle that we should be utilizing on average.
Yes.
These vehicles. And I know we're substantially over that amount, and you've squeezed every bit of value for our taxpayers in terms of keeping these fleets up and running. At some point, the maintenance costs are going to be so staggering, and they're going to be really repairs that we are making decisions around capital funding and all those things. What is the age of these vehicles, these three specific ones, and where are we in comparison?
At the present time, the radio patrol car average age, I believe, is around 7. Medic unit was around 10. It was at a point where it was almost 12.
Yeah.
And compactors were way out there. They were 13, 12 or 13 years old.
So that's a big concern, right?
That's the average age.
Every one of these vehicles
So
is,
they're past their life cycle.
yeah, and they're used multiple shifts, right?
Another thing that
they're always
affects
running.
They're always
another
running.
thing that affects the vehicle availability too is even the newer trucks that we're purchasing now. You know, they require shorter maintenance cycles, shorter maintenance intervals. So they have to come in for oil change more.
Yeah.
Due to all the emission controls and everything that's going on with them, which in turn affects the vehicle availability. You know, so down the road, your severe duty vehicles like your medics and your compactors, those vehicles will have to come in more. The medics, for example, 10 years ago, they came in 6 times a year for PM. They got to come in at least 12 times a year now.
So
You
once a
know,
month.
and that's because of the newer medics require that by manufacturer standards.
So tell me this, so we have our average age, we're a big city, obviously, you know, there are other big cities around. So I don't necessarily want to compare us to, you know, a city with 30,000 folks in it. You know what our vehicles go through. Are there, you know, for the big cities, are there standards in terms of, you know, average age or, you know, best practice on average age? And if there is, what is it?
Yeah, we do have a publication that I could send you that lays out what the life cycle of a vehicle should be. For example, radio patrol car, we found in conversation with New York City that they replaced the radio patrol cars after the 3rd or 4th year of service. We were into 7 or 8 years of service. We figure with our maintenance practices, I think we can go 5 years as maximum for radio patrol car. 8 years would be the maximum for a frontline refuse compactor. Medic unit is 7 years. And we do have a listing, ladders, pumpers, and all different types of equipment down to an executive sedan on how long they should be in service.
So why don't you prepare for us, I guess in essence, a 5-year plan that lays out how do we get to a 4 or 5 year life cycle on a radio patrol car? How do you get to 6, 7 on medics and 7, 8 on compactors? What you'd have to do. Your answer earlier was obviously we need more vehicles. What would it take to do that over, you know, some relatively decent 3 to 5 year period of time? What's involved? How much does it cost? And how would we implement such a program?
Okay, we'll do. We've actually started on that. So
I figured you had. The other thing I do want to mention beyond what I said about my vehicle, our ability to provide service to citizens, especially during heavy snow events, heavy rain events, a couple hurricanes, other things that are going on, is a real testament to fleet management and the public employees who drive those vehicles. And whether over in streets, whether in water, parks and recreation, other departments and agencies who immediately jump into service, in addition, of course, to police and fire and first responders. Again, you all really deserve a significant amount of recognition. They can't drive those vehicles on 12 and 14 and 16-hour shifts, move all that in past years, maybe not so much in recent times, when we've had heavier snowfalls. But, you know, 4 or 5 inches, you know, I think many of our citizens now, because of the performance, look at 4 or 5 inches of snow as almost nothing. That's as a result of being able to do the things that you do, and you can't move that material if you don't have vehicles to do it. And keeping them up, the way we drive them hard to clear these streets is, again, a recognition of the great service that you all provide. People see the equipment and they see the personnel out there driving it, but if they can't move, they can't do their job. And so that's where that partnership really makes a difference. And it's because of that great work that I think we've been able to get through almost any event here in this city and do it in a pretty significant fashion. Thank you.
I'm going to try and move, because I know we have to go through. There's an initiatives kind of page, it's page 11, that I'm very interested in. And just as a way of going through, if you could just bullet each of these and just give us what's the update on the implementation asset management going forward. That this is IT, page 11.
Okay.
Implementation of asset management systems in progress, what does that mean?
We are using this system now for our work orders, and we're replacing a homegrown system that was developed by a dedicated city employee. We've been working with it for about 3 months now, going through implementation. We're still kicking the tires, learning all the features of the system. The system is multi-layered, it's cloud-based, so it saves on city resources in terms of our infrastructure for data center. However, we're moving forward to learn all the bells and whistles for this software. So with new training, employees, redoing processes of how to do things, not from the old way, but to a new way. So it's in progress.
How long will it take for that to actually get, when are you at the point where you feel comfortable enough that that's just the way you now do business? And what's the estimated time of implementation and training for everybody to get up and feeling comfortable in the system?
We actually have been using the system, and it is a way of doing business today.
Okay.
What Deshaun refers to is there are a lot of layers to this system, and quite simply, we don't know all there is to know about the system. But we've contacted the software developer, and we've set up training. We're going to have key user training again. Quite simply, it was too much to learn in the few weeks that we had to implement it. It will be the basis for all of our maintenance. Maybe Joe could speak to how the system works and as far as our preventive maintenance program.
Yeah, the system has allowed OFM to generate automatic reporting to our customers, and now the operating departments can receive automatic email notifications such as PM reports, state inspection due reports, and
Hey Joe, just
daily
explain
down reports.
what a PM report is.
A PM report is as your vehicle's due for oil change, preventive maintenance.
Yep.
It cycles throughout the year. On a sedan, it might be 4 times a year, depending on the duty. And there'll be dates that vehicle has to come in. Now, when we get GPS, there won't be dates anymore. It'll be, the vehicle will be called in as per the mileage that's downloaded into the GPS.
And you know that's
so
one.
the GPS will allow us to drill down on our maintenance even closer, and that's really critical for our compactors and our severe duty vehicles like medic units. I'll be able to find out the engine hours when it's due, and we won't have to do any time-based preventive maintenance anymore. It'll be all by meter.
So that's the one that I've been asking for a while. So where are we on my GPS? Come on.
Okay, with the GPS, there's in a contracting / procurement processing. The way that the city is set up, we have the services portion, but by it being hardware, you have to follow the rules of procurement, put it out the bid. So we're actually in the process of putting it on the street. They have bid for the contract, the whole project planning of implementation, getting the units into the system installed, and letting the data.
What's your timeline for all that?
It's actually going out to the vendor today. It's being mailed.
It's a coincidence.
Deshaun or Chris, you might want to brief the mayor on the pilot you did.
We did a GPS pilot. As a matter of fact, I'll let Joe take that over because he did a lot of work with several GPS companies.
Yeah, I'll give an example of one pilot we did with Tom Conway and his
Clip,
unit.
yeah.